both sides are playing hardball. Both of them want to convince their domestic audiences and the world that they are in charge, not the other side. Of course, both sides are correct here in the sense that the Americans are going to Doha, the Iranians are going to Doha. They may not actually meet, but they'll certainly exchange messages through the Qataris. But it certainly shows that the negotiations are tense and fraught, and there's a fair amount of theatre going on here.
Thank you. So, U.S. President has said that Iran has agreed not to acquire a nuclear weapon. So, from your perspective, how credible is that claim, and what would constitute a meaningful agreement, do you think, in practical terms?
I think at the present time that the Iranians mean that, but of course the future is a different place, and they could certainly change their mind. I think they are trying to trade off that particular agreement for relief on the sanctions and some economic support. So as long as it's in their best interest not to push towards a nuclear weapon, they will do that. It has to be a carrot and a stick here, if you like. So I'm sort of looking towards what the Americans are proposing as far as relief from sanctions and whether they actually carry through with that. I would also be expecting that the Americans will want the IAEA back in Iran again, checking on the nuclear installations there.
And Iran is also discussing new arrangements for the Strait of Hormuz, while warning it would block vessels operating outside approved routes. So how might these maritime developments, do you think, affect the broader negotiations and regional security?
Well, this goes back again to them playing hardball. In the Strait, about half it is split between Oman and Iran, where the ships transit through the Strait, and they want the ships to transit through the Iranian half of the Straits. Oman is pushing for in fact, the ships going through the southern route past its coastline. If the ships do that and go near Oman, that means that Iran loses a lot of its power, and so they are extremely reticent about doing that. So these drone strikes have been tied up, or the drone strikes on Friday and Saturday have been tied up with Iran playing hardball as well and trying to enforce its control of the Straits. You've got to bear in mind that, both Israel, the United States has its midterms early in November. Therefore, the Iranians realise they have 3 months, if you like, to get this organised. Of course, if the negotiations are still dragging on, I think after the midterms on the 3rd of November, that the Americans will return to a full-scale war once more. So there is a timeline here, definitely, both for President Trump as far as lowering gas prices in the United States and pleasing his domestic audience, and both for the Iranians for getting the control of the Straits, which they desperately seek.